This evening, what we're going to be looking at is strategy. Now, we've already looked at strategy, you say, and it's true, we have. This particular instance of it is very specific, though. We're looking at it for the purposes of writing a business plan, okay? So now you say, well, okay, why would I write a business plan? Well, if you have any opportunity at all, business opportunity or something you want to pursue in terms of related to moving an idea forward, it's nice to be able to plan it. And from a point of view of planning or business planning, one of the things you need to be able to ask yourself is, will anyone buy this product? That's ultimately what you got. Is there someone out there willing to pay money for your product that exceeds the cost of you making it? Obviously, you have to be profitable too. So the situation that we're ultimately asking, if we said, what is the big question? The big question is there an opportunity here for a business venture that is A, meets the needs of the public or meets the needs of the customer, and B, can afford me a return on my investment? So ultimately, all of our efforts really go into that purpose, answering that question, predicting a response. It's not guaranteed that we're going to get the response we want to hear, but it's a way to predict the response without really investing any money up front. This bides down risk. It bides down risk, which is really one of the key things of any business plan, is to put a lot of thought into something before you do it so you can reduce risk and enhance the probability of success. The other thing that the business plan needs to be able to do, the second aspect of it, is to be able to sell the idea to someone who potentially would invest in it. Okay. So you need to be able to convince someone out there that what you're doing is a worthwhile proposition, and that if they invest money, they will A, get their money back, and B, get some sort of return on that investment. What we're looking at here tonight is, how do we go about framing our head around that basic question? Is anyone going to buy this? Am I going to make any money on this? How are we going to frame our head around it? So what you need to be able to do before you do anything is to investigate the opportunity. So a plan, we use the word strategy. That word is beaten around a lot. It just really means a plan. So a strategy for your business startup and growth will help ensure that you'll best satisfy your customers' needs and contribute to your business profitability. Effectively, that's what I just said. You would need to be able to say, does it meet the needs of customers? Can it make us any money? Okay. The basic question, who do we sell to, needs to be addressed. Potential customers with similar needs will fall into particular groups called segments, and then identify these groups and their needs through market research. We've talked about market research in the marketing unit. And then once we've got that, we can address these needs more successfully and think about things like who are competitors, what opportunities are out there, what threats are out there, these sorts of things. So if you have a business, and I want you to think about this now, any business that you would have, think about, who is it you're going to sell to? What is your customer? And you're going to say, well, every customer that comes in is a little bit different. True. That's true. But can we group them together? Are there groupings of customers? We can group them by age. Are they young people, older people? So we have to ask ourselves, who are the potential customers for the products that I'm selling or I plan to sell? And we narrow it down. We can narrow it down by age, gender, where people live, the type of income they have, their preferences, lifestyle. Maybe you're selling a product that has to do with outdoor recreation. Okay. Someone's lifestyle may be suited that. Like, for example, motorized recreation is one group. Unmotorized recreation could be another group. So you can kind of break it down even further. But you need to think about, who are potential customers for the product that you're planning to sell. And that's really the first part of your strategy, is thinking about, who are these people that are going to walk through the doors or order online, or who are these people? So what it does is strategic planning involves incorporating all that you've learned from the research and all that you've gathered from this thing called the SWOT analysis that we've looked at before, to articulate a path forward. How are we going to move towards our goal of opening our business? and running your business and making it successful. So strategic planning describes where you want your company to go and what's necessary in order to get there. In today's world, it is easier than ever to do something called secondary research. And generally, when you're starting a business, the very first thing that you're going to do is do what's called secondary research. Secondary research is stuff that's already available. You don't have to go too far and forward in order to find it. I can think about this computer that's in front of me has access to a whole bunch of things out there in the world that I can search for. Okay. But you can go to libraries and you can find other documents and you can read books and magazines, newspapers, whatever. It doesn't matter. These are all considered secondary sources. This is where the information that you potentially could use is stored. So secondary data already exists. Someone's gone out and got it for you, and you're going to look at it and you're going to use it and you're going to help make some decisions about who your customers are, whether your business is feasible, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, these sorts of things. You want to be able to think about what secondary information is most valuable to you, and that's the stuff you need to focus on. So you need something that's rather timely, for example. You don't want it too old, or something that's very specific to your region. So if you're looking at opening a business here in Newfoundland, we're not sure if the information coming out of Ontario or coming out of London, England, or coming out of Japan is super relevant. Excuse me. Depends on, again, it absolutely depends on what you're selling, but you have to ask yourself, is this relevant to my need? Usually government sources, particularly here in Canada or in the United States, government sources are fairly reliable. And if we think about it here in Canada, there are a whole bunch of really good resources out there. Statistics Canada is a government entity that regularly collects data on Canadians and Canadian business. As you know, you do the census every 5 years, but Stats Canada gathers information from our taxes, from sales, from everything, in order to get good data on what people are doing, how they're doing it, where they're spending the money, what type of information do we have about people. But on the right, key indicators. These are broad indicators, okay? Population, for example, as of January 1st, 2020, they estimate that there's 37,894,799 Canadians, for example, which is up a little bit from the last quarter, every 3 months. Consumer Price Index, which is a measure of inflation. It's they take a basket of groceries at some base year, 1996, for example. A basket of groceries cost $100. Now it costs $120. So basically, it's gone up 20 points since 19. That's an idea how the Consumer Price Index works. There's a tremendous amount of information that Stats Canada collects. And now I'm showing you a very, very, very small slice, okay? If I go to a town, it could be any town, but if we think about setting up a business in Clarenville, for example, you might want to go to this information for whatever the town is you're looking for. And the census is done every 5 years. It was last done in 2016. So one of the challenges with census data and things is it gets old. We're at the oldest point of the census right now, right? 2016, 4 years ago. Now, so if you look at, for example, here's Clarenville, they collect a tremendous amount of information on the people of Clarenville. Population, for example, in 2016 was 6,291. And you can see that's up from 2011. And that's a 4.2% change. How many private dwellings? If you're a company like Kent, who sells toilets, we know in Clarenville that there is at least 2,809 toilets. If there's 2,809 private dwellings, there's 2,809 toilets. And we think, is there a market for toilets in Clarenville? Well, you got 2,800 houses of which to figure that out. Here's a really good one that kind of can help you define whether your business is feasible or not. Let's assume you're selling kids' toys, okay? Kids' toys. And we ask ourselves, well, who are the kids buying this? Well, they're under 14. Well, we could look and we can clearly see in Clarenville that 0 to 14 years of age, there's 1,125 kids of that age range, and they're broken, male and female is what's here. in terms of 584 males, I believe is first, 540 females. There's 74,440 in Newfoundland of that age range. And I think it's the male breakdown, the female breakdown. So, we ask ourselves, where does Clareville sit in terms of how many young people? Well, we can compare this to other towns and we can say, okay, well, Clareville has more kids, less kids. Or if you're selling products that are only really purchased by people between the ages of 25 and 50, we can very easily find out how many there are in Clareville. So this is a really good resource. Next thing, once you've done all that secondary research, you need to do that secondary research first. You might even go out and do some primary research. Primary research is information that you collect starting from scratch, going out and collecting it yourself. All right, combining together any secondary data that you collect and any primary data you collect, you got to go into this SWOT analysis. Now, again, we've looked at the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis stands for doing an assessment of strengths and weaknesses of any organization, yours, and any opportunities and threats. So strength and weaknesses really refer to the internal aspect of it. What do you got inside your organization that helps move it forward or is going to not help move it forward? So what you got that's good? What do you got that you need to improve on? That's the strengths and weaknesses. The opportunities and threats looks at what do you got out there in the world that can help you, and what do you got out there in the world that can hinder you? All right. So our secondary data is particularly important for the OT part, which is really what opportunities are out there and what threats are out there. And again, they really pull from demographic information, which stats can, and these types of organizations can pull for you. Trends, Retail Council is a really good place to look for trends, what's going on in terms of sales trends. Social and cultural factors, again, stats can, or any of the large data organizations. Economic conditions, stats can measures all that. Technological change, again, stats can, the Retail Council, regular report on how things are done differently, technological change. And political and regulatory legal environment. Again, you can go to various government websites that relate to that. Again, the quality of the information that you gather. You have to be careful of the quality of it. Make sure you know where it's coming from. Not all of it's good. Your SWOT, you're pulling down information from demographic, social, cultural factors, technological change factors. And from all that, you're going to basically conduct the SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is to say, looks at your strengths, ask questions. What do we do well? What are our unique skills? What expert or specialized knowledge do we have or you have? What experience do you have? What do you do better than your competitors? Is there something unique that you have, something special? The Wayne Gretzky effect, I call it. And what's the most profitable part of your business? If your business is up and running and you're doing a business plan to carry your business forward, you ask yourself, what does that make most money on? Because that's really what I should focus on. So that will help you assess your strength when you ask all those questions, combining it with the secondary and the primary data that you have. Our weaknesses, we're thinking about the things that you need to improve. What attributes about yourself or your business that could be improved. Things like, what areas do I need to improve? What resources do I lack? What parts of the business are not very profitable? How do I get some further education? If I've identified education, certain things that I'm not so good at, or I don't know how to do accounting, or I don't understand computers, or I don't know how to use a particular application, we're going to find that information out, or who could I hire to help me with that? And what's the cost and time of those errors in terms of money, in terms of time, in terms of lost opportunity? What do we got to worry about? So the SW part, you should be able to do internally based on your own self-assessment. What do you got that's good? What do you got that needs improvement? The other thing that you need to do in terms of moving forward, in terms of before you start your business plans, look at the opportunities and threats out there, and the secondary data will help you identify that. We're asking ourselves in terms of opportunities, what's your business goals? The goals, do they match up what you're looking forward to, what you're moving towards? Do the market support that sort of thing? How can you do more with your existing customers and clients? Are you absolutely satisfying your existing customers if you're an existing business in order to grow more? How can you use technology in order to enhance your business? What are some of the things you can do? A lot of companies have, in this last 2 months, have really looked at technology. For example, this type of thing we're doing here, a lot of companies are using that now in order to do the things they need to do in terms of to meet with their customers. If you're looking at counselors, for example. How are there new target audiences that I should look at? I notice here in Clareville, for example, a recreational dealer in town here just got into selling bikes. Maybe they identified an opportunity there, and they certainly did, because I see bike sales have gone up a lot because of the COVID crisis. Are there related products or services that I could provide, or I could partner with someone who provides? So if you think about what you're selling, is there another company that sells something that complements it? Can you work together? So if you're selling cars and you see an auto repair dealership, can you work with the repair dealership in order to do something? Or if you're a carpenter, can you work with an electrician? Can you work with, are there others there that you can work with in order to build up the critical mass of products that you sell? And are there related products and services that you can use in order to improve your business? Then you got the threats. And this COVID crisis has been the ultimate example of a threat for businesses. If you look at all businesses now, they're suffering. Of course, they're suffering because this crisis has really caused some problems. It's a big obstacle for businesses. It's very easily identifiable, though. We can see it. Other threats are not so easily seen. Is there a missed opportunity that you're missing because you're not doing something? Are your competitors doing something better than you? Should you be doing something more? Should you be doing something less? Is the economy in the ditch? Is the economy improving? Is there an opportunity? Now might be an ideal time to get into business because the economy can go nowhere but up, right? So it really depends. So you need to do this assessment of whatever you're planning to do, whatever the business is. You really need to look at the SWOT. And from that, it's going to help formulate your business plan, because what you have to do in your business plan is identify your strengths, identify the opportunity, do something about your obvious weaknesses that people are going to see. So, for example, if you're a mechanic and you have no business training and you write a business plan to open a machine shop or open a mechanic shop, one of the things that someone investing in you is going to look at and says, who's going to actually run the business in terms of dollars and cents? So your business plan needs to kind of consider weaknesses and how do we work around them. And your business plan is going to also be looking at very hard at what are some of the threats out there and what are you doing in order to manage those threats. Risk, for example, financial risk. If you're going to be spending $1 million on this business, what are you doing in order to ensure that $1 million is protected? That sort of thing is what the SWOT analysis is so good for. And it really identifies the key points that you need to put in your business plan. So out of this SWOT, that's the kind of things you're going to get. What are the trends in the marketplace? What are the competitive trends, or what are the threats? Are the current products that you're selling suitable for the market? Do you need to get into something else? Is the marketplace, what's the trends in the marketplace overall? Is it a growing marketplace, declining marketplace? What's the competitive situation? What's the demographic situation? And all of these things need to be considered when you write your business plan. It really needs to address all those, because someone looking at it, obviously they're doing a little SWOT in their head as they're looking at you and they're thinking about investing in this. They're saying, well, what are your strengths, weaknesses? What are the opportunities and threats for this business? Have you addressed all of them? One of the things that the SWOT will help you do is identify something called the unique selling proposition, which is really the reason you exist. Okay. Consider the reason a customer is going to buy from you. What is it that makes you stand out from all of your competitors? You got to be able to answer that question in your business plan. What is it that makes you different? So, in order to help answer that, one of the things that you want to do is ask yourself several questions. What do you love most about products and services? What special service or knowledge do you have? What makes your customers come to you instead of your competitors? How do your customer benefit by purchasing your products and services? What aspects do you generally highlight when you describe the business to strangers? These are all really the magic that makes your business want to work. What is it that makes you so special? And that's really important to identify in a business plan. What is it that makes this idea so special? Once you've done all that, then you set some goals, okay? Your business plan really clearly lays out what are your goals in the next 5 years, in the next 2 months, in the next year. You need to be able to set some hard goals, targets that are going to identify whether your business is working or not. If you feel you're going to make a profit by year 3, for example, that's a goal, okay? By the 3rd year, the business will be profitable. Well, in order to test whether that's a good goal, you have to ask, is it specific? Well, yeah, profit is what I'm measuring. It's measurable. I can measure profit very easily, revenue minus expenses. Is it attainable? Well, I would hope so. If I'm going to start a business, I need to be able to make a profit in it in order to make it sustainable. Is it relevant? Is it something? Yeah, profit is very relevant to a business. And is it time bound within 3 years? Yes. So you have to ask yourself with every one of these goals that you set out, is it something that meets this SMART test? And your business plan is really going to be front and center in terms of proving that your goals are relevant. So the business plan takes all of the stuff that you've done in this strategic planning and really articulates it into a package that anyone reading it will say at the end, yeah, I want to invest in this because this is going to work. Okay. So that's really what you need to be able to do, is to clearly demonstrate that what you're saying here makes sense and you're selling it. You're selling an idea. And that idea, the better articulated it is, the more clear it is, and the more precise it is, the better off you'll be.